Brandon, such a pleasure to speak with you. Nope's one of my favorite movies of the year.
Yoo-hoo.
And, you know, I just was curious. Jordan Peele's clearly a visionary at this point. What was your biggest takeaway of just seeing, how he directs and how he, works with his craft?
Yo, Tyler, first things first. You're smoking me with the background right now, man. Like why is yo man? He went off. He went crazy. Shout out to you, man. But yeah, Jordan's a genius. It's weird to see a genius in person. I think this is the first time I've properly seen one in in this close capacity. But yeah, to see his mind operate and work under crazy circumstances and to have that pace. He has such a good pace where he can do this for 2 years. Like this movie's been a part of his life for 2.5 years, and he's still doing work for it. Like as we're speaking, so it's just that was a big learning lesson for me. And then yeah, as a visionary, he's just he's very free. You know, you would never really get. I would never really think that since his films are so detailed. You know, he's very open-minded and free to other ideas and stuff. He's not very strict of like I need this and that. This connects. He's very open. So that was cool to see, and he's constantly coming up with something new all the time. It's crazy having conversations with that dude. You're just like, oh, no wonder you're this. Like that's crazy. And then you realize too, he's like one of the funniest people alive right now as well, and that's Artur director and funny as beep. Like he's awesome, man. I don't know if I could swear, so
That's awesome. And Jordan, like you mentioned, he has that great comedy background,
yeah.
and in the film, you're delivering a lot of the comedy, lightening the mood between some really intense scenes. What was it like collaborating with Jordan, for the comedic moments?
Yeah, man, it's weird because I don't think I'm really that funny in real life. So to get like the kind of like grace from him of like, oh man, you're making me crack up. Like that's why you got the job. I'm like, really? I'm like, you're like one of the funniest dudes ever. So that's a compliment I pat on my back. I'm like, that's a cool thing. But yeah, to collaborate with him, yeah, man, it was just cool because we did something like different every take. Like and that was like one of his things was like, yo, you give me options. Like I'm gonna tear it up in the editing room. Like his boy Nick, like he's like, yo, we're just gonna collaborate and like make it crazy. So it's like be free, try something new every time. Like you give me more options and we're gonna vibe out. And he'd come up with great ideas too of like because he's like the greatest one of the greatest impressionists alive as well. So like he'd kind of like give me a little bit of Angel Torres stuff of like like just doing all these different mannerisms. So that helped me out as well. Where I'm like, oh, okay, I see what you're saying. I can give you that, you know. So yeah, it's just very collaborative, and he's always asking what do you think too. You know, it's not a dictator in that sense. It's cool
Yeah,
to
that's great.
have that collaboration.
And like this was your big breakout role, people love it. And then you worked so closely with Keke and Daniel, who are so experienced and incredible in their own right. So working with them so closely as scene partners, what were you really able to learn from them that you'll apply going forward?
Oh man, so much it's hard to even explain. Like with Keke brings something different to every take as well, and delivers like the highest level of improv, which is insane. Like, and Kiki's just funny all the time, but also Keke has such a great pace, just very energetic all the time, very grateful all the time, and is funny all the time. Like it's just weird. I'm like, how do you have that much energy in your life? Like you're like one of the busiest people ever, and you have all this great energy. So that taught me a lot. And with Daniel, man, he's dude with his eyes, man. His eyes they're always telling a crazy story, and he doesn't have to say anything. So just seeing that internal work and just seeing he makes sure that he gets what he needs, you know, in the sense of a performer. Like he makes sure that he's comfortable to, and so he can perform. And that taught me a lot as well. Of like, yeah, make sure you get what you need because you know film is forever. And it was just cool to see his process and yeah, and like even yeah, it's just incredible. And what also taught me is like working with the best of the best makes my job easier. Like this is the easiest job I've ever done because they were just firing at the highest level. And so it didn't make cause nerves in me at all. Like it took all the nerves away, which is cool because Daniel's like my favorite actor right now. And it was just cool to sit across from him in scenes. And then Keke, I grew up watching Keke as a kid. So, yeah, it was cool to just meet them in person and to see how great of human beings they are, too. Like, always respected them as performers, but to respect them on a human level for their heart, like, man, that's different level.